Qatar is already one of the globe's financial powerhouses, claiming the 5th highest per capita income worldwide. But what if I told you its wealth is set to skyrocket even further? In this video, we'll explore the factors propelling Qatar on its trajectory toward the richest country in the world. Let's start with a quick background check. Qatar is a small country in the Middle East, but don't let its size fool you. With a GDP of over $200 billion, Qatar has been punching above its weight for years. Famous for its abundant natural gas and cotton reserves, the country has been investing heavily in various sectors to diversify its economy. Now, you can't talk about Qatar's economy without mentioning its natural resources. It's the world's 3rd largest producer of natural gas, and this sector has been the cornerstone of Qatar's prosperity. The discovery of oil and gas deposits has changed Qatar more than almost any other nation. 50 years ago, this small emirate occupying the eastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula in the Persian Gulf was little more than sand, stones, and a few huts. Until the 1930s, the Qatari economy was dependent almost exclusively upon pearl diving. Nowadays, all that remains of that bygone era are a few narrow streets and souks in its capital, Doha. The Gulf states have enjoyed a particularly rich geological history. Large reserves of oil and gas have accumulated in the region over millions of years. They have been an economic godsend. Today, Qatar rivals Dubai as the city with the most striking modern architecture in the whole of the Middle East. But building regulations here mean that even the most state-of-the-art skyscrapers must incorporate elements of Arabian design. What just 5 years ago was the site of a couple of modest apartment blocks is now dominated by glass and concrete towers thrusting up towards the sky. Qatar's rulers want to use the money generated by their oil and gas fields to build a modern state. They want to offer all Qataris free education and a world-class health system. The infrastructure to support such ambitious projects is springing up across the country. The Qatari government hopes to attract the very best doctors and scientists from across the globe. Recently, the country has started on a path of liberalization. Censorship of the press has been abolished, and women have been given the right to vote. These are just a couple of the indirect consequences of Qatar's economic boom. But plentiful water is the most visible sign of the country's recent windfall. Here, 1 liter of water costs more than 1 liter of petrol. This is hardly surprising, seeing as the country has to rely on costly desalination. Qatar is one of the driest nations in the world. In just a few decades, however, the oil and gas supplies of this tiny desert nation have turned it into one of the richest countries on Earth. What's more fascinating is how they're managing these resources. They're not just exporting raw materials, they're adding value through downstream industries like petrochemicals. However, Qatar isn't just relying on oil and gas for its future. The country has laid out an ambitious plan known as Qatar National Vision 2030, a strategy that, if successfully executed, could catapult Qatar to the pinnacle of global wealth rankings, making it the world's richest country in terms of per capita GDP. Qatar's Vision 2030 is all about future-proofing the nation. Launched in 2008, it aims to catapult Qatar into a self-sustaining, advanced country with a diversified economy less reliant on oil and gas. The vision is built on 4 key pillars: human, social, economic, and environmental development. A series of actionable plans, starting with the 2011 to 2016 National Development Strategy, lay the groundwork. These strategies are roadmap checkpoints, packed with measurable goals that contribute to the vision's 4 pillars. They're not just government checklists, they're society-wide missions that actively involve both governmental and non-governmental entities. Importantly, Qatar doesn't see progress as an internal affair. It aligns its goals with global benchmarks like the UN's Sustainable Development Goals and Climate Change Framework. This shows Qatar's commitment not just to its own transformation, but also to global challenges like sustainability and climate change. Simply put, Qatar's Vision 2030 is more than a plan. It's a commitment to create a prosperous, equitable future for all, at home and globally. If Qatar successfully realizes the objectives outlined in its vision, the country stands to become not just considerably wealthier, but also self-reliant. Have you ever seen the skyline of Doha? If you have, you know it's like watching the future being built right in front of your eyes. Infrastructure and real estate projects worth billions are being executed, including state-of-the-art stadiums for the FIFA World Cup 2022, the Doha Metro, and the Lusail City project. The FIFA World Cup served as a significant economic catalyst for Qatar, boosting various sectors and energizing the nation's economy. According to a comprehensive report by Cushman and Wakefield, Qatar experienced a significant economic upturn in 2022, registering a 4% growth in gross domestic product, GDP. This is a considerable improvement from 2021, which saw a modest 1.5% increase. However, it should be noted that projections for 2023 anticipate a reduction in growth to 2.7%, primarily attributed to the waning influence of the World Cup on the travel and tourism sectors. Nonetheless, Qatar has strategically scheduled a host of major sporting events for 2023, including the Formula One Grand Prix, Expo 2023, and the Asian Football Confederation, AFC Asian Cup. These events are expected to serve as stabilizing factors for the travel and tourism industry. Additionally, the retail sector has demonstrated resilience and adaptability. The latter part of 2022 witnessed the inauguration of Place Vendôme Mall, strategically located near Lusail Stadium, the World Cup final venue. This new addition to Qatar's retail landscape has been a focal point for tourism. Monthly rental rates for commercial spaces hover around QR 200 per square meter, attracting a new wave of cafes and restaurants. It is also noteworthy that the hospitality sector observed remarkable growth, especially during the World Cup period. Occupancy rates for 1- and 2-star hotels peaked at 92%, a substantial increase from the 64% recorded in 2021. Similarly, 5-star hotels enjoyed a 306% surge in revenue per room from December 2021 to December 2022. Looking ahead, Qatar appears committed to leveraging the momentum generated by the World Cup to explore new business opportunities. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, brother of Qatar's leader Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, recently expressed interest in acquiring the English football club Manchester United as part of this broader strategy. Qatar has set ambitious tourism targets, aiming to attract as many as 6 million visitors by the year 2030. In sum, while short-term economic indicators suggest a cautious approach, Qatar's long-term strategies and investments point to a commitment to diversified and sustainable growth. Qatar isn't just building physical structures, it's building minds. Places like Qatar Foundation and Education City are becoming hubs for research and innovation. They're partnering with some of the world's leading universities to foster a culture of research and development, aiming to create a knowledge-based economy. Qatar has been investing in finance, technology, and tourism to reduce its dependency on oil and gas. The Qatar Investment Authority, the country's sovereign wealth fund, has stakes in companies globally. They're not just earning, they're learning, adopting the best practices to bring back home. The location of Qatar also plays a significant role. Positioned between the East and the West, it's an ideal place for businesses to set up their Middle Eastern headquarters. While the economic outlook is generally positive, it's crucial to acknowledge that Qatar faces its own set of complex challenges. These range from geopolitical tensions and economic vulnerabilities to more pressing issues of human rights violations. Specifically, there are concerning reports about the treatment of migrant workers, predominantly from South Asia. These workers are allegedly subjected to grueling long hours in extreme heat, low wages, and substandard living conditions, often with more than 10 individuals sharing a single room. While this is an important issue, it warrants a dedicated, in-depth discussion in another forum or video returning to Qatar's economic landscape. The prospects are incredibly promising. Should Qatar successfully maintain its growth trajectory, execute its plans, and achieve its set objectives, it is poised to become the world's richest nation in terms of per capita GDP. That concludes our discussion for today. If you found this information valuable, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave your comments below. Thank you for watching.